All right, take two. Sorry about that, folks. I forgot to turn off the Wi-Fi and use the hardwired in our video studio here in beautiful downtown Long Beach, New York. As you know, I'm CJ Rosenbaum, one of the founding partners of AmazonSellersLawyer.com. And get our lights going too. There we go. And I'm joined here by our managing litigation attorney, Travis Stockman, and our incredible, fantastic paralegal, Dana Rodriguez. And if you've seen more than one of our videos, you have heard from Dana and her incredible successes for sellers all over the world. And we are holding this webinar to update sellers all over the world about your risks from big brands in light of the Fendi litigation. So Dana, you have some questions you're going to moderate today. I'll stop monologuing.
Okay, so last week we started with you, CJ. Today I want to start with Travis. Can you tell me a little bit about the current lawsuit brought by Fendi?
Absolutely. So Fendi brought a lawsuit against many Amazon sellers. They're alleging that these sellers have done one of two things: either illegally reproduced a counterfeit version of a Fendi product or used a mark so similar to the Fendi mark that it constitutes trademark infringement.
Okay, so what does this mean for sellers?
So what this means for sellers is it's hard for Fendi to identify who the sellers are. They need to get this information from Amazon. Typically in these lawsuits, what happens is they go to the judge after they have initiated the case and they move for what's called a temporary restraining order, which is an order by the judge that's temporarily going to restrict them from either doing something or not doing something. In this case, to stop the sale of the disputed infringing products. And what most often happens is a freeze of their Amazon funds. Now, this temporary restraining order is often the first notice that individuals receive when they know that there's a lawsuit in the way.
All right, I'm going to jump in. I'm probably going to screw up the order of Dana's questions. Okay, so I'm going to forgive me in advance. First of all, Fendi in their lawsuit has no recognition of the commingled inventory system. Absolutely none, and they just sued dozens and dozens of sellers with no recognition that they can't tell whose goods were delivered to which consumers, or they have sellers of genuine Fendi products having products mixed up with sellers who might be selling counterfeit. There's also no recognition of the first sale doctrine, which allows people in the United States to buy and sell goods without the brand's permission. So sellers, one of the goals I wanted to have here with this webinar is to make sure that you are aware of the litigation, the risks, and also sellers' rights. You need to know about the first sale doctrine. You need to know about the flaws in this lawsuit. And if you have been named in this lawsuit, we want you to call us. Sellers have rights.
Okay, so once hit with this temporary restraining order, what do sellers need to do to resolve this?
It's always important to respond to the litigation, hire an attorney to reach out on your behalf. You'll notice that the message you receive along with the temporary restraining order provides an attorney contact information. It's very important to get in touch with them. The last thing any seller wants to do is avoid or ignore this lawsuit.
Okay, also, if you are sued, you will have to receive notice of it, or what should deliver to you notice. But if you're concerned because you're selling Fendi products and your account's been suspended, your listings are down, okay, you can email us or give us a call and we'll send you the list, the list of the defendants. The defendants are also named by their Amazon accounts, but in pretty short order, they're going to identify who is behind those accounts.
Right. So what happens if they do not respond?
If you don't respond, you risk a default judgment. And what a default judgment is, it's a final order by the court in which liability is presumed, to which they're going to request some sort of financial amount to cover their damages alleged. And the only reason they're winning is by what's called default. Default
simply means that you didn't respond, that you didn't respond yourself in writing, or that they didn't hire a lawyer to respond in their behalf. The sellers who are sued, if you choose to hire us, we are figuring out a very fair fee structure where the time that can be split among our clients will be split and shared, which means your costs will be a lot less. And we're also huge believers that there are strength in numbers. So I believe that when all is said and done, there's going to be a significant portion of the people who were sued in this case who never sold fake products at all. Another group of people who never even sold the products at all, no sales. So there'll be ones who only sold genuine, and there's going to be sellers who never actually delivered anything to a consumer. So Travis, for a seller who only sold genuine products or a seller who didn't deliver anything at all, what's their remedy?
Well, often in situations like that, it's relatively simple for us to resolve it. opposing counsel, because of the risk of default and answering litigation, sometimes they do want compensation for the fees they've incurred in processing this and tracking down the individual. But if that's the situation, damages are going to be minimal. There's a very good chance you're going to be settled out of the case and dismissed from the lawsuit.
Well, I think that sellers, if they did not sell anything at all, no products delivered at all, those should be slam dunks. You should not have to pay any money.
Right.
And on those cases, if you want to use as leverage or even assert their own counterclaims, if they never delivered a single product, they have potentially defamation counterclaims and tortious interference with contract claims. They didn't sell anything at all. Now, the sellers where you are 100% confident you only sold genuine products, you have the same rights and the same leverage, but it's probably more of a fight because we're going to have to defend you and show that the products that you sent into FBA were genuine and it was Amazon who mixed them up. In fact, there's something called third-party practice, which means if you're an Amazon seller and you sent in genuine products to Amazon's FBA and Amazon itself mixed up the products, you could then bring Amazon into the case, which a lot of sellers are going to be very hesitant to do because nobody wants to poke a bear.
So now that we've gone through all that background information, we did kind of touch upon this question. But my last question for you guys would be, how can we help these sellers?
Travis, let me start, okay? First of all, you have to contact us. You don't have to hire us. You don't have to pay us for a consultation. But in order for us to provide you with any guidance at all, you got to call us at 877-9-SELLERS or email me at cj@amazonsellerslawyer.com. As the calls and the clients come in, we're going to start categorizing you folks, okay, into ones that might have sold counterfeit products. There are going to be some sellers who sold counterfeit products, okay, ones who didn't sell anything at all, and ones that are entirely confident that they only had genuine Fendi products, and therefore you have rights under defamation, tortious interference with contract, and I lost my train of thought, but that you didn't do anything wrong.
Right. And like we said before, the last thing you want to do is ignore one of these lawsuits. Often these law firms dealing with other sellers are going to be bullies. So it's always good to have a lawyer representing you, speaking to the other side. And, we can get this resolved for sellers. We can work out some sort of agreement and ensure the sellers get dismissed from the lawsuit.
Okay. Let me just add in another 2 cents. The case is pending in Florida, correct?
Right.
Okay. We are not admitted in Florida. In particular cases, we can ask judges to allow us to represent sellers based upon our experience working with Amazon sellers. We also have lawyers that we work with in the state of Florida. So either way, we should be able to help the sellers, even though the lawyers here are only admitted. We're in New York, Northern District of Illinois, and a couple other federal courts around. But it doesn't mean we can't negotiate for you. Also, for sellers that are located abroad, I find it very interesting to have Fendi, which is an Italian company, okay, suing sellers around the world in the United States, particularly in Florida. So sellers, you need to know, it doesn't matter whether you are located in the United States, in China, in Europe. Once you're in the United States, you get the benefit of all the U.S. laws. The first sale doctrine in particular, Travis, if you can, explain to sellers what the first sale doctrine is and why that might be super applicable in this particular litigation and for sellers to use against brands, every day.
Of course. Well, the first sale doctrine essentially states if you buy something and it's in the exact condition as received from the manufacturer, you have the absolute right to sell that unless there's some exception that applies. But if you get something, no one can come in and tell you you can't sell it to somebody else on a general scale. And the first sale doctrine allows these resellers to sell these products, which is generally what makes up the majority of the Amazon marketplace. Now,
this also leads into authorized sellers versus unauthorized sellers. And Dana, you had dealt with countless suspensions with authorized, unauthorized nonsense. To explain what the authorized, unauthorized is when it comes to Amazon sellers.
I'm sorry, is this a question for me or
for you?
Travis?
I'm putting you right on the spot. Amazon sellers accused of being unauthorized to sell. What does that mean on Amazon?
Well, usually when someone is flagged for being unauthorized to sell, it can lead to an account suspension. It doesn't really mean much. I mean, most of these sellers are receiving their products from, retail outlets or just genuine suppliers. So, you know, when we show Amazon that these products are completely authentic, why, you know, like it just doesn't make sense to have someone be flagged for counterfeit sales because they're unauthorized, even if the
Exactly.
product is.
That is exactly what I was looking for. First, Amazon does not enforce distribution agreements. And number two, authorized versus unauthorized doesn't mean you're selling counterfeit. That's why sellers have rights. You could be unauthorized. You could have bought them out of the back of a truck, right? You could have bought them at Marshall's, Target. Who cares? Okay. You do not have to be authorized in the United States